Our next speaker is Stefan Gant, and he is a senior lecturer in drawing and digital practice at the University of Northampton. And his title, we have it here. His presentation is Ruminating the Physical, Digital and Phygital in a Contemporary Drawing Programme. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay. The introduction to drawing module, which this is going to be about over the last 6 years, has sought to include digital technologies at specific stages. This is a significant departure from my own experience as a student. Given the pluralism of contemporary drawing today the curriculum seeks to prepare and inform students of the lineage and speculative future. As a contemporary drawing lecturer who utilises technology in my work, I do not proclaim to be a techno guru. In fact, I'm acutely aware of its ability to mischievously interfere. I find myself at times resisting the push of technology, seeking to find a balance and employ an equal measure of focus that conventional drawing affords, which I deeply value. However, the lure and ambiguity of both drawing and digital remains a shared fascination. Exercising a synergy between two polemically considered worlds can be a vehicle to examine. If we do use technology in a drawing curriculum, ultimately as teachers of this discipline, shouldn't we consider what is taught, how we facilitate this, and most importantly, why should we facilitate this? Given the plurality and associated ambivalence in drawing today, it seems poignant to instruct students on this discourse to be critically aware. Technology has impacted on the morphology of drawing, reacting like a barometer, responding to change. My generation, known as the millennial, or as alternatively Generation Y, were born into an analogue world that gradually became digitally saturated. The Ontological Divide is described by W.J. Mitchell as a sudden and a decisive rupture, and today has led to theories such as Hale's proclaiming that we now reside in the post-human and post-digital. Notable generation shifts are described by Ivanova and Smirkarov, suggesting that in 2009, generations typically accounted for periods of about 20 to 25 years. Though now, due to explosive evolutions of technologies, it has radically shortened these periods, influencing children born after 1981, when I was born. The exposure to digital technologies form their perception, skills and thinking style in a manner that absolutely differ from this generation, from the previous ones. Generation Z, born between 1994 and 2004, notably has a deeper generation gap, shortening the time span. A quotation from Jackson Pollock extends this, saying, "It seems to me that the modern painter cannot express this age, the aeroplane, the atom bomb, the radio, in the old forms of the Renaissance, or of any other past culture. Each age finds its own technique. The result is the thing." Today, the Life Room retains its status as a place where rigour and exercises in looking and drawing, analytical study and material exploration prevail. In a time where the speed of technology impacts us all, drawing slows me down. Practitioners I speak to today recall their drawing curriculum and Life Room drawing classes, but none recall technology being integrated within a drawing curriculum. Generation Z, born into the digital world, brings a digital fluency, a generation that is ostensibly more comfortable in proximity to tech, an attribute I identify when I teach in the digital media suite. Why facilitate the digital in a contemporary drawing programme? In the first instance, it is part of the fabric and discourse of contemporary drawing through the so-called expanded field, open to practitioners who have an interdisciplinary specialist skill set and knowledge to facilitate technically and theoretically. Digital media presented as drawing is accepted through national competition criteria, notably for the Trinity Boyworth Drawing Prize, formerly known as the UWE Drawing Prize. The platform provides validation through peer review, consisting of international artists, academics and creators in the UK, amongst others. Digital dialogues in drawing also play out through the Drawing Room London, Drawing Now, the Louvre Paris and Drawing Centre New York, each resulting in publication. Publications inform pedagogical dialogues and lead to inclusion in selected reading lists. In 2007, UWE Drawing Prize panellist Paul Bonaventura describes my work akin to the practice of drawing excused, whilst Catherine de Ziga suggested drawing expanded. More recently, in conversation with Dana Petherbridge, when posing the question, could digital be considered in a digital capacity, the reaction was risible, laughable, which might be perceived as counterpoint to the work of David Hockney's iPad drawings. This module and curriculum explores drawing alignments with and differences from other forms of practice. It is duly recognised that the specifics to drawing highlighted by Ian Kerr and properties supposed intrinsic to drawing may also offer proximity through further reflection beyond this presentation. Respectful to the lineage of drawing and discourse, great consideration is taken when structuring the curriculum. The module is driven by my experiences as a practitioner working between conventional drawing and digital practice. Facilitating drawing workshops in a physical and material context is prioritised before drawing extends into digital facilitation for students to acknowledge human agency, authorship and experience tacit inquiry informed by material, visual and sensorial modes of mark making. Animation, photography and video are selected disciplines offering a proximity to drawing after a sustained physical inquiry. The beginnings of alignments and differences with drawing are explored through the nexus of the digital activities, each discipline delivered over 2 weeks. At level 4, workshops are weighted towards material and physical exploration, extending into notions of drawing that suggest intermediality and interdisciplinary practice. In proximity to Kovacs' humorous apocryphal of the Russian space pen, a pencil that outmatched the American $1 million investment of a pen to work in zero gravity, I recently used a pencil made from recycled digital video cassettes. The pencil extended binary codes of zeros and ones, offs and ons, in proximity to touching a surface. This pencil in question didn't have the same bite, tacit feel. It was different, but it still made a mark. Drawing and digital are different and not the same, though through the associated subject matter it can suggest marks or lines through alternative media of screens and interfaces. Pencil and pixel converge. Perhaps the cassette pencil offers an opening consideration to the delegation of marks through alternative devices and associated mutations. So to begin with, I'm just going to flick through my journey. This is a drawing that I did when I was 14, which I value greatly, where it was about connecting through drawing, of drawing of a cockerel. And then fast forwarding through then, here we are with a quite important piece of work which changed my direction as a practitioner within drawing while studying on the MA drawing programme at Wimbledon. Here's a piece which was selected for the Jura Drawing Prize in 2007, Drawing the White Mountain, which was based in the Camargue, France, through a residency. Working with RTI, most recently with Dr. Paul Riley. And one of the most recent pieces of work I've made, which has just been shown at the Lumen Prize, Phygital palimpsest. So this kind of exemplifies examples of a generational shift, if you like. And I'm happy to talk more about this piece later. But there's about 8,000 conventional drawings that were imported within GIS and photogrammetry data. The drag factor. Drag factor resulted from a residency between my father and I in the salt pans of the Camargue in France, 2006, entitled The Generation Project, informing this curriculum. The term drag factor derives from the Norse drag, to drag a mark across a surface, expressing divergency from a point. The drag factor here is the variance from a control point. Here, the spatial divergence associated with the discourse of drawing can be expressed. The continuum is transferable as a temporal and medium-associated visualization tool. Drawing constellation. So the diagram charting the drawing constellation presents a cyclical and non-hierarchical diagram identifying the associated tools and vocabularies of drawing derived from a qualitative questionnaire during the residency. For note, born on the same day with exactly 30 years between us at the time this was produced in 2006, this was then acknowledged as a generation. Our positions on drawing had parity with differences. The results later offered transferability and suggestions towards what might be embedded in a contemporary programme. However, since being published, the continued expansion of drawing digitally over the past 10 years is further affected by the proposition of tilt brush, virtual reality, and a plethora of apps and other emergent devices. So what is taught and how is it delivered? The 24-week, 20-credit module is delivered to BA Honours painting and drawing students 2.5 hours a week, followed by an independent study. Sketchbook activity is prioritised as a generator for thought in a non-prescriptive way, and risk-taking is actively encouraged. Today, students locate associated research through reading lists, gallery visits, international trips, blogs, Instagram, online archives, websites, the Take Gallery album feature, V&A Digital Archives, the Drawing Room London, to name a few. The module introduces analytical drawing leading to experimentation. An intensive 6-week block of life drawing is recognised as critical to engage ahead of digital processes, acting as a diagnostic to assess and support benchmarks. Considering human agency and inquiry without buttons to press or reverse options to step back mistakes is emphasised. I like making mistakes when drawing. This is how I learn. Firstly, we detach from the digital to consider and highlight human agency, authorship, facture, and our relationship with materials in bodily worlds. So these are some of the traditional things that you'd see to begin with. Some examples of students' work there. Haptic drawing then removes visual stimuli. Artist Claude Heath is referenced claiming that his drawings echo scientific scanning visualizations such as PET, positron emission tomography, and MRI, and that our eyes become tools for feeling the tacit textures of the world. So here's just some brief examples of that process where we put the students in the dark and we have to engage with objects. This then develops through to expanded notions of line in three-dimensional space. And then we move on to animation. The 2-week animation workshop references William Kentridge and Robin Rode utilising charcoal on paper, photographed in sequences. These form the rupture and transformation of material into immaterial. Drawing enters photographic transcoding, where theoretically imagery is generated from a series of units that are assigned numerical values. From here now, with numerical representation according to Kittler, any medium can be translated into another. With numbers, anything goes. Modulation, transformation, synchronization, delay, storage, transportation, scrambling, mapping. A digital base will erase the very concept of medium. It is the algorithmic manipulation Lev Manovich describes that generates what we see on the screen, simulating medium. The Life Room is exchanged for a media suite with professional photographic lighting and digitally documenting the works that lead to extending the transcoding process, importing images into Premiere Pro. The screen, an alumni silicate formulation, and mouse or stylus replace or transmute from the tooth drag of a pencil and support of paper. So here's the various stages of that. Recording, transcoding. Then we enter into photography. Photography and drawing. Exploring marks in the world are captured by the camera and held, guided by both hand and eye. Here the numerical conversation concept of transcoding imagery extends. The subject matter is explored over 2 weeks with inductions into Photoshop. Here algorithms take command of the immaterial image before being represented back on paper. And I'm just going to see if I can get this to work. A little bit of video for you. So, digital video as drawing is introduced over 2 weeks, consisting of video and editing workshops. Documentary and abstract explorations of line are exampled here. This is informed by personal work selected from the Jura Drawing Prize and associated catalogue PDFs, and with reference to publications such as Online by Catherine de Ziegler and Butler, supporting the delivery of this module. Artist Lucy Gunning provides an experiential account of video in proximity to drawing, saying, "I'm interested in handheld fluidity, the camera drawing in information that has already been framed and edited, how recording something with a pencil or camera isn't so much a way of capturing an existing thing as creating a new one." The aggregate condition is discussed by Rosalind Krauss, involving the compound idea of apparatus that considers all parts of the process, including spectatorship, a structuralist film perspective. Krauss says the parts of the apparatus would be like things that cannot touch on each other without themselves being touched. And this interdependence would figure forth the mutual emergence of a viewer and a field of vision as a trajectory through which the sense of sight touches on what touches back. This was a revelation to me in understanding the nexus of tacit forces involving physical touch that extend and perhaps offer insight to the extension of human agency through devices, in part transferable to digital apparatus. So if I can, So I'm just going to show you a very, very quick extract. So this is a student who took a camera away and was interested in looking at notions of line in a narrative format. It's worth noting as well that these are in a very, very early stage as well. It's just 2 weeks. So here's an example of post-module now. So the students have an opportunity to go and use Wacom Cintiqs. And these are actually engaging with through the games art department as well, which has been brought up before. This is an example of a former student presenting work as a direct result from this module. So this is a degree showpiece, a phone app translating a drawing as a negative, transcoded into a new media positive. So using new media. International Symposium in collaboration with leading institutions and personnel play a major role in curriculum development and pedagogy. In conversation with digital archaeologists and pioneer Dr. Paul Riley, the term Phygital was discussed. The term offers a descriptor for the interstices between physical and digital processes in fine art disciplines. It bridges rather than polarises material and immaterial, a sort of man-machine equivalent. At a crossroads with artificial intelligence extending beyond digital and new media, I wonder how drawing may react next. So just to briefly show you, these are things that we engaged with the Tate through their albums feature a few years ago, through the Sketchbook Today International Symposium that I organised with Dr. Craig's staff, and then most recently Painting, Drawing in the Digital, which was run in collaboration with the Drawing Centre in New York. So we had a day of painting in relation to the digital and a day of drawing in relation to the digital. And there we have Brett Littman in some kind of godly-like position above us all there in a live Skype. And it was very, 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 very interesting dialogues which were emergent from that. So, thoughts to conclude from the presentation as follows. The curriculum offers a model and structure for workshops successfully informing students at level 4, not hindering through hierarchies, but embedding experiential learning. Confidence, diversity of skills and future learning trajectory is empowered through an experiential and theoretical tract of drawing discourse. Drawing in a material and physical sense is now more than ever critical for human position. The continuation of drawing constellation questionnaires can address divergence, track trajectory and support curriculum enhancement. This module notably requires skills and knowledge across physical, material and digital, immaterial. Meanwhile, the future curriculum content is at the onset of the new intersubjectivities informed by fellow Lumen Prize winner Su Guanjun, employing robotics and drawing. Where does I and we begin when collaborating with machines? And what will this mean for drawing at the crossroads with AI and future teaching? Finally, and this is a proposal, could Phygital be adopted as a descriptor for the digital convergence in contemporary drawing? I look forward to ruminating with you all. Thank you.